Aloha, everyone. If you're watching this and you have no clue who I am, my name is Kamanzi Constable. I am the author of 4 books that have sold over 100,000 copies. I am a writer for 14 different large publications, places like Entrepreneur, Business Insider, Ask Men. I've even appeared in the print version of Entrepreneur Magazine earlier this year. And I am a world traveling consultant that travels to 30 plus countries a year for consulting gigs at Fortune 500 companies and multinational corporations. And I would not be sitting here about a year ago talking to you like this and even being able to claim those things. Because about a year ago, I was exactly as a description describes. I was broke, broken, and I was extremely desperate. And so I'm going to back up a little bit and I'm going to tell you a story and just tell you a little bit of a lesson that I learned from this experience. 2015 was a banner year in my online slash lifestyle slash internet marketing business. I had appeared on Smart Passive Income with Platt Flynn, and it was amazing. It was amazing being on his show. I got so much exposure. I had so much new business, and it was a great experience for my business. And after that, in combination with writing for different large publications, my business exploded. I mean, it absolutely exploded to the tune where I was easily doing like $30,000 a month in the business. Every month, I was clocking 30,000 consistently, just between the being on Pat's show and then writing for some large publications and for some different things that I had done online. And it was a good year. And I came all the way up until about the end of 2015, and I started traveling for consulting gigs. And I was going to some amazing countries and I was doing some cool stuff. But while everything business wise was great, everything looked great on the outside. On the inside, I was just dying inside, and there was a lot of personal stuff going on. And if you were friends with me at that time, you saw a lot of stuff going on back and forth on social media, a lot of things being said about me. And even though my business had reached the pinnacle of success, my personal life had reached like one of the lowest points in my life. And at that point, at the end of 2015, my marriage of 18 years fell apart, largely because of my doing. And at that point, once the marriage fell apart, I just told myself, since I technically didn't have anywhere to live, that I was going to go out and I was going to start traveling for consulting and just start doing it full time, living the nomad lifestyle. And that's exactly what I did. I lived out of Airbnbs. I lived out of one single backpack. I still have the backpack there in my closet. I'm in my apartment now. But I lived out of backpacks and Airbnbs. And I did that. And while I was out there doing these consulting gigs, I met a woman in Panama at one of the companies that I had consulted at. And it was at the point where my marriage was over and I was still kind of fresh, and I didn't really understand that I need to give myself time to heal and time to process everything that had happened with this long relationship ending. And of course, I jumped right into the relationship, and it was a complete disaster. It was like it was a train wreck. It was a complete train wreck. And even though I met this woman in Panama, she lived in Medellin, Colombia, and she said, "I live in Medellin. I got to go back there. Do you want to join me?" And I said, "Sure, I'll join you in Medellin, Colombia." And I went to Colombia, and that's where I spent most of 2016 was living in Colombia. And Colombia, the country, is a pretty amazing country. It's a pretty special place. But the circumstance that I was in was totally not. It was very unhealthy. It was not where I need to be in my life, and everything suffered as a result of it. And it's all on me. I don't put it on anybody else. I take full responsibility for everything that I did and everything that happened. I was the one that made decisions, so I have to be the one to live with the consequences. And so I've been to Colombia, and I'm thinking that I'm madly in love with this woman, and I just let everything else go. I let go of business. I let go of myself, my body, my health. I let everything go, and I spent every day just trying to prove my love to this woman, and she was all that I could think about. I was infatuated with her, and I just let business completely slide. And so I came to the end of 2016 completely broke. I had gone through over $250,000 in 1 year. That is no joke. And I was completely broken. Business was terrible. I mean, it was pretty much non-existent. All the opportunities that I had built up and the momentum from 2015 was completely gone. And I was just completely broken. I didn't have no clue where I was going to live or what I was going to do. And I just knew that I needed to get the hell out of Colombia. And so that's what I did. I had maybe $300 in my bank account at that point. So this would be about in December of 2016. I didn't have any money in my account at all, but I knew that I need to spend that money. So I spent about $150 to buy a ticket on Spirit Airlines just to get the hell out of Colombia. And I went to Florida, where my friend Edgar, who may or may not be on this, my friend Edgar said, look, I don't know what you're doing. And this was around Christmas time. I don't know what your plans are. I know that things are strange with your kids. Come to Florida and stay in my house. I need a moment. Wow. Get emotional. And Edgar was a true friend. I came to stay at his house, and I didn't know what it would be like staying with some strangers, and it was kind of weird. And but he made me feel really at home, and it was like one of the best Christmases I ever had. And so I stayed with him. And at that point, when I was in Florida, I knew that I needed to get back to Maui. Maui was the place that my dream had started. It was the place where I had the most productivity in my life. And I knew just somehow I needed to get back there somehow. I'm looking at my bank account and I had about, $153 or so that was in there. I did have a lot of frequent flyer miles because I had done a lot of traveling for consulting. So I had a lot of frequent flyer miles. So while I'm sitting there, I'm talking to Edgar. I'm like, what do you think? Something is just telling me I have to get back to Maui. And that's what I did. I said, I talked to Edgar. Edgar's like, it's a good move. You need to go there and you need to do this for you. And so I used those miles, and I used the last $153 that I had to buy an Airbnb. And if you know anything about Maui, Maui's not cheap. I think the average room rate there is like $250 a night. And the average Airbnb there, even for like renting rooms, was incredibly expensive. But I just happened to find an Airbnb that was really cheap. I think it was, I can't remember what it was. It was like maybe $40 a night or something like that. And it was in a room, and it was an interesting setup because I was sharing a room with somebody that was already renting a room from somebody else. So it's a room in this apartment with all these other people renting it, and we each have sides, and there's a curtain separating us. And that's where I stayed on Maui. And it was about, the cool thing was it was about a block away from the beach. It was in Kihei, which is where I had lived for a couple of years. And it was not the ideal setup, but I knew I needed to take whatever I could get at that point. And the $153 paid for my Airbnb. The miles covered my flight, and I went to Maui. And that's where I started my year in Maui, Hawaii. And I was there for 3 weeks. And every day I would just go to the ocean and I would think and I would pray and I would meditate and I would just plan. And it was a place that I really centered myself. And I got back in touch with everything. I got back in touch with my dreams, with my goals. I reconnected with my kids. Need another moment. Didn't expect to get so emotional on this. And it was a life-changing experience, to say the least. And at that point, it just became really clear what I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to take control of my health again. I wanted to take control of my business again. I wanted to be there for my kids. And I realized there that if something was going to change in my life for the better, it wasn't going to happen with me sitting there hoping that a miracle would happen or I'd win the lottery or, some crazy situation happening. If something was going to change, I had to get off my ass and I had to do something about it. And that's what I did. That's what I did. And so I created a plan. I started working out while I was there. I started eating better while I was there. I started reaching out to old business connections while I was there. I reestablished a strong relationship with my children while I was there. And it was like I hit the reset button while I was there. And from there, I left Maui, and having reached out to some people that I had done business with before and said, hey, you got anything for me? They said, sure. They got me in touch actually with a guy at a really big company. And he said, yeah, we do want to give you a shot coming here for training. So after Maui, I went to New York City. And if you know anything about New York City, you've ever been there, just the energy of New York City and the people and the vibe, it's absolutely incredible. And it was exactly after the slow, kind of chill pace of Maui. New York was definitely what I needed. I went there. I did a consulting gig for a Fortune 500 company. I felt like an imposter the entire time. I'm going over there consulting all these big shots about digital marketing, about all this stuff, while, I'm pretty much broke. Like, I didn't have any money at all. I'm broke. They had given me some money for the flight, and they had given me part of my speaking fee, but I'm pretty much broke, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to consult these big Fortune 500 executives on how to do digital marketing and whatnot. And I had to get over the imposter syndrome. It came back in full force. But right before I did it, I did what I normally do. I reminded myself that I'm going to go over there and I'm going to have some fun, and that I am an expert. I do know what I'm talking about, and this content's good, and I'm just going to go in there and do the best job that I can. And I did, and I went in there and I rocked it. And that opportunity led to the next opportunity, which was to consult for a major multinational company in London, actually. This company is headquartered in London, and they have offices all throughout Europe. And so it just kind of springboarded from there. I did one good job. They recommended me to the next job. I had reached out to some companies that I had been ignoring throughout all of 2016 that had been sending me offers, and I got back in touch with them. I started being proactive, and I started pitching different companies. I raised my prices. Like, during the time when I was really desperate, my prices were like really, really low on everything. I was doing coaching for like $50 an hour and selling classes for $97 an hour. And I was doing the internet marketing hard sell to get people to buy. And, some people bought at the lower price, but I just said, you know what? Nobody's buying anyways. I'm just going to raise these prices by 10 times. I know the content is good. I know that it's valuable. I know that it's practical. And I know that there's somebody out there that will appreciate this at this price. And I did that. And I remember I went and my lowest coaching package was at $900, and it was for like 3 months. And I remember I raised that package to $4,800. I went from $900 to $4,800. And I'm like, yeah, nobody's going to buy this at $4,800. And like 2 days after I raised that price, somebody bought it. They bought it 2 days later, right? And it was absolutely incredible. And, that's been the story of this year. I raised the prices. I got some more business. I got some money in my pocket again. I stopped feeling so desperate and needy that I had to keep pushing and approaching people. And as I laid back and I wasn't desperate and needy, people started coming to me. Opportunities started coming to me. I started condensing the things that I do. I had so many different offers. I said, I'm not going to do all this stuff. I'm just going to focus on the things that I'm absolutely passionate about. And, that's even what's led to this transition now to where I'm not doing all the stuff that I used to do online. And I'm just mainly doing stuff with large companies. And it's been great. And we got this agency going, and it's been great. I really wanted to come on here and to talk about this because I know that there's somebody who is watching this, or somebody right now who may be watching this later that is broke, and maybe broken, and maybe desperate. And I know what that feels like. It feels like you're all alone on this island somewhere and you don't have a way out. And I wanted you to know that there is other options, that you don't have to go through this alone, that you shouldn't go through this alone, and that if something's going to change, you're going to be the one that's going to have to do it. You're going to have to be the one that's going to have to get up. You're going to have to get back up from the ground, and you're going to have to do something about it. So if that's you, if you are struggling, like business isn't as good as you thought it would be this year, if you've taken some knocks that you weren't expected to have, you got haters or whoever, maybe even family members that mean well, but they're telling you things that are just going to take you farther away from your goal. Know that you don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept those circumstances. You don't have to accept your situation right now, and you shouldn't, because life is too short. We only get one life to live. None of us is guaranteed a tomorrow. Nobody here is guaranteed a tomorrow. So each day, every day that you have has to count for something. And even though life is hard right now and it may not be going as planned and things just feel overwhelming, you can overcome this. You can overcome this. I'm living proof that you can overcome this. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today in my apartment. This is my apartment. I haven't had a place of my own ever in my life. And the last time I did have a place, it was with my now ex-wife. But I'm sitting here in my apartment. I just bought a car like last week. I'm going to Africa on Tuesday to consult at 6 different companies in Africa. I leave on Tuesday. If this wasn't possible, I wouldn't be able to say those things to you. So that's what this message is all about, and that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted you, the person that's struggling, the person that feels like you have no hope, like it's a hopeless situation, I want you to know that it's not. And if you feel that way, I want you to feel free to message me. Reach out, message me. I'd like to be a voice for you. I definitely like to do that, and I like to help you if you feel like that's a situation that you're in. So I guess with that, I've said everything that I wanted to say. I'll stay on here, and if you have any questions, I'll definitely be honored to answer your questions. But I see a bunch of messages here. Melanie says, hey, you're a huge inspiration. Thank you so much, Melanie. David says, we're with you. Thank you. Ann says, take your time. Thanks. Lois says, Z, you have friends. I know. Thank you so much, Lois. Aisha says, hey, great story. Thanks for sharing it. Hi, Edgar, if you're listening. And my buddy Edwin from the Philippines says, we need good friends. We got good friends. So thank you for all of those messages. Thank you for joining me. It's been overwhelming. But if this is you, if you're struggling, if you're going through anything like I was going through, private message me. I would definitely like to help. I like to hear your story, and I know what it's like. So I'd like to do anything that I can and help any way that I can. So cool. I guess nobody has any questions. So life is good. We live to fight another day. God is good. I know not everybody watching this is a Christian. I am, but God is definitely good. And life is short. So this is your life. You can do something about it. Do something about it. Make each day count. Don't settle. Chase those dreams, no matter how big they are, because you can definitely accomplish them. So having said that, I'm going to sign out. Have an amazing night, and thank you so much for joining me. And I'm truly blessed to have you in my life. So thank you.